undoable poses.
Yes.
Yes.
And with candles and incense sticks in a corner with a photo of Buddha, God knows why.
Particularly by skinny girl.
Yes. You're standing on one hand and the one leg is in this direction. The other. That is yoga.
Today.
Yeah.
Brand on your name, make like Bikram yoga or whatever yoga you want to make. So that will help you make money.
Yes.
As absolutely zero concern for any civilizational issue, any cultural issue, any tradition parampara issue, because these people are not guided by the ethos of the civilization. What beats in their chest is money. What happens when you discredit the source? Like I learned something from you, and then first of all, rather than crediting you, because then there's a market thing.
Yeah.
I want to be the authority. So I will do anything I can with my power to discredit you. And then you are already discredited. I become the owner of that knowledge. I become the founder. So this is the whole thing going on in the popular imagination and the popular market.
Sivasri ji, I would ask, like, is it music or which played a role? Is it singing or dance as a yoga that transformed you as an individual? Means your perception that you are not just an individual as you went through the, means you are starting this Vanam project, you are teaching Abhangas to kids. So is music behind the root of you being transformed, means seeing yourself not just as an individual but your greater responsibility to society, as just Ācārya Shri has just now indicated, that the worldview of the person will change, and instead of being an individualistic person, it's all about my pleasure, my suffering, my happiness. In the most of the cases when people go to Tantra, it's all about this only, my experiences. So is it music which changed you to see yourself as an extended self in the entire world? Like as you said about surrender, which is also essential in Tantra. Is the surrender the role that played in it? Is it something which has come from the Guru, which has transformed you into to see beyond yourself as just Sivasri Skandaprasad to a responsible individual of this planet with certain...
I wouldn't attribute the entire credit to just music.
Music.
Any sadhana we do, the more we sit in meditation with the particular art form, or even when I do a painting for that matter.
Yes, you are also into painting.
Yes, so the intention when we do that particular sadhana, it is again an effort. It is again time spent with the art itself and with self. So the more time we spend with self, which is equal to meditation, the mind opens up to a broader source of information where you get a calling.
You get a calling.
Yeah, you get a calling. You just know that you want to do these things. You just push to do these things. It is like a force that pushes you in a particular direction where you don't sit, look at a wall, write down and decide I am going to do such things. The way I come up with ideas, I always attribute it to a higher force. I never say I came up with these ideas because I know I did. So the more I spend time with myself, say I'm just sitting with a tambura and I'm just singing one note, because my guru always says that the ultimate music is that one shajja. Whatever composition, rag, tal, whatever we do, finally that nada is that one note, that shajja that opens the entire universe to me. So the more we sit with that one note, the more we sit with any bhav that we want to do through dance or through painting or anything it is time with self. So it is self which is nothing but the higher force which pushes us in a particular direction, be it Project Vanam or be it the urban re-landscaping that I'm trying to do, or the experience centers that I'm trying to, I always say that I'm just trying to, because I can only try. The energy comes from somewhere else, the decision comes from somewhere else, and when it gets implemented, it is for everybody else. So we don't exist there at all. So it is entirely up to the higher force and the energy that pushes you in the direction.
A kind of a compassion evolves, like as you said, even in Tantra, slowly, the individual will be seen. Is it something like that? The individual will be seen through or monitored, that whether it's all about their personal priorities or whether they are thinking about the next expanded self, or being empathetic or being more compassionate about the world around. Is it through those regulations that the guru monitors the shishya, that how he is transforming as an individual?
Not just always guru, not only guru monitoring it. What is happening there? What is the meaning of the word Shiva? Shiva itself means compassion. And mantro vai devata. We are now completely misunderstanding mantra. Mantra is not a prayer. Mantra is the deity. Mantra is the body of the deity. All the statues and hands and weapons and everything are the attributes, the energies within the mantra. There are these, if you read Agamas, it is so mathematically clear. For every mantra, they will give this vigraha. As soon as there is a slight variation in the mantra, the vigraha is different. That is why you have like 81 different variations in Siddhi Lakshmi, because there are 81 different variations in the mantra. So every mantra will cause a way. It's not that one God, it could have so many prayers, right? Yes. But it's not the prayer. Mantra is not a prayer. Yes. Mantra is the deity. Now, let's go back to Shiva. Shiva itself means compassion. What do you read? You read the Vyoma Vyapin. What is Vyoma Vyapin? The one who permeates the sky, the Vyoman. The next word you read, Vyoma Rupaya, one whose body, whose form is the sky, all permeating sky. You are repeating that every day. Om Namah Shivaya. I bow to that. Compassion comes within you. If you know the meaning. Now that you are repeating compassion, you are repeating all permeating forces within you. And then, Pratyangira. So these days so popular, Pratyangira. That is why I went to a particular...
Actually, more popular than her.
So both for Bagalamukhi and Pratyangira, actually. They are actually only.
So you have the Agama, Raurava Agama,
yes,
that is giving you Vyoma Vyapin. First, as the whole text, majority of the text is giving you commentary on how to meditate on the Vyoma Rupa. And now you run into some obstacles, and in certain situations of disease or someone trying to hurt you, then you are giving a small section, 4 lines of Pratyangira practice. Now we are taking out the entire Saiva practice, entire cultivation of the heart, entire transformation of the ego to the totality. And then we are picking that remote form of practice given in the context where the aspirant, who is, just because you are walking considering everybody is Shiva, doesn't mean the thorns are not there.
Exactly.
And these are used as a protection, like the shoes, And then these protection vidyas, so you want to just not even consult the entire text, the whole practices, and then you picked that one protection. That protection was not given for you. That protection was not given for you. That protection was given for a sadhaka who has completely surrendered to Shiva and has transformed his self-experience so that he is not harmed by any vicious beast. These sadhakas were living in the forest, among the snakes and the Bengal tigers.
Yes.
And they were never affected. I'm a student of Khatar Baba, Vishuddhananda.
Yes.
He lived in 17,000 feet high, played with snow leopards. I'm not talking about some legendary gurus of, He was alive quite like there are hundreds of thousands of people who have known him, who know his stories, So he was himself a scientist. He was a medical doctor. He was highly educated. He told me I can never, I have to always double check what he's saying. I would why would you, I already know. No, but you would not let it. No, you have to still follow the system. Otherwise, you would turn like everybody else, to just start having a blind faith over teacher. So he was more worried about the system than about the delivery of the message. That how am I accepting his teachings, rather than why am I? Like, am I just accepting because he's a respectable person, or am I accepting because it's a logical thing to accept? So he was worried that I may be following him simply out of respect. He was literally mortified. That is what you need in teacher as a quality.
And even my guru used to say, a guru becomes a guru from a teacher when they, for one, know when the student is eligible to learn certain aspects of anything. The second thing is when they are ready to send the student to another guru to cross-check if they are right or not. So my guru used to do that for music. Go learn the same song from the other guru. They are much more well-versed with the Dikshitar Kritis. Go learn from them.
Making the student cross-check or something like that?
Not cross-check exactly, but give them the freedom to explore, finally find for themselves which is their path, and then come back to them. And gurus who are like that finally have the student coming back.
Always coming back to them. So, sir, you are saying that in the system of Tantra, the Shishya is not given moral science teachings. Rather, the mantra is itself transforming the individual into a more compassionate and elevated being. And he does not need to be taught that you must not hurt others, you must not do this thing, or you must not. So these are not given as teachings, but rather internally, through the force of mantras, the person is changed to that kind of a being.
No, Guru also tells you, but we have been told so many things.
Yes.
But we don't do it.
Yes.
So, but when the Guru tells these things and when these mantras are delivered, but there's also a broader philosophy taught at the context. And then when you are serious into practice, you start correlating the mantra with the broader teachings, the broader philosophies, and then they lead you to the bhava of the deity. They lead you, but again, rather than, oh, this is a deity with this particular ferocious bhava, you cultivate the bhava to be in whatever the way you want to relate to with the deity. So because your love will be the love for no matter what the form of the deity is. So it is not that people practicing Kali are always the crazy looking, ghoulish, muttering in cremation ground type, There are some of the most loving, compassionate human beings like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa who have been practicing Kali. So he's not like one of the scary, ghoulish guy,
It is not necessary, or what, as you said, that because it is accepting, everybody was allowed to practice it in their own way.
No, it is people, there is no control, so people are allowed to cultivate the bhava the way they like, there are so many different bhavas, Vatsalya, Madhurya, even in the Vaishnava Bhakti, that you can relate to Lord Krishna in so many different bhava. But the Guru does not tell you what you want to become, because Guru gave you the mantra, Krishna is the Lord. Now, do you want to be Maya Shoda? Do you want to be the partner Radha? Or do you want to be Kamsa?
Okay.
He is also the devotee,
Yes. I remember you're teaching about the Devi Mahatmyam, that the Mahishasura should not be seen as something as evil, but something which is again projecting out of Devi, and it is not the good and evil dichotomy that is playing there.
Mahishasura, jo chitte kripa samara nishthurata drishta. What is mother doing? She has only compassion within herself. She's not mad and going to kill but she has compassion. How do you know that compassion is? Because he dissolves into her. She takes his soul, merges, sayujya. Now the Devi, then Shakradishtava, then it is very clear that he gets liberation. Oh my gosh, mother, you even liberate him. And then that is why, in the Chandi Puja, Mahishasura gets worshipped.
Yes, definitely.
Why would you be worshipping a demon? No, he's a demon. For his worship method was wrong. Ācārya type, or not in Ācārya in the good way, but like the negative type Ācārya.
Yes.
And therefore he became, so the deities may not mandate you the bhava, but your bhava makes you who you are. So you can still worship Lord Shiva and become Ravana. You know, just because you worship Lord Shiva doesn't make you a rishi. So the bhava is also equally important, and you need to be mindful in the sadhana what particular bhava you want to stimulate with. You know, Bharpama Kepa, you know very well. You know, his bhav is so loving. It doesn't matter what he does or where he goes. You know, so but because pollution is in our bhav, not in his bhav. Okay.
Sivasri ji, when the matter of bhava comes up, it is important both in Tantra and in music. As you said, the Chaitanya of the Guru is transferring to the Shishya. Do you flux in such a means? Do you too feel that what would you identify yourself? Because you are more into the Bhakti tradition. Well, how do you identify yourself with like an Advaitin from music? I mean, do you like bracket yourself, or you just as an Advaitin, or a Vishya, as a dualist, as a non-dualist? How do you relate to? Does some kind of a discussion comes out like that during the practice of music? Or just as sir said that it is left to you?
I actually have experienced all of it when I sing.
Okay.
So, because I do a lot of Nama Sankirtana, which is mostly propagated, mostly performed by the Dvaitin saint poets who have considered the Lord as a separate a deity and them as a speck of the Lord, and then finally they surrender to the Lord. So when I do Nama Sankirtana, yes, I do feel that I am at the feet of the Lord. But when you start doing your own sadhana, when you're by yourself, when there is practice sessions going on, when I'm just doing a very meditative music, you become the music.
You become the music.
So that is
kind of like non-dualist.
It's very non-dualist. So as a musician, as an artist, yes, it is very confusing for the individual that is seeking something, that is on the path of understanding philosophy, understanding bhakti. But once you realize that it is finally Sarvam Naya, when you know all of it exists in you, you can be an Advaitin and at the same time be Advaitin.
You can be Advaitin. Yeah.
Ācārya ji, as you said, just about the context of, you said that a certain mantra is given when the person is facing such and such situation of natural calamity, or in such a kind of a vulnerable position within the practices, because ecology or the natural setup has been very important if we see through our literature or our practices, that be it music, be it bhakti, even Andal, because Andal is compared as a poetess, she is said to be one of those few geniuses. I won't get to her divine, but she is said to be one of those geniuses who knew the nuances of even what are the color of the little bugs to each of the leaves and flowers and plants. She was a very fine observant of nature, and her music or her poems was rooted from that very experience or what she got out of through the setup she was born into. Coming to the point, likewise in tantric practices, Ācārya Shri, it is always said that this tree, it has been categorized, as you know, that the Kula Vriksha, the concept of Kula Vrikshas, Kalpa Latas, and this tree, that tree. So people are told to do sadhana beyond, beside, as a traditionalist, you too might have gone through those practices, the Bilva Pitha, etc., sadhana. Now, when the entire natural setup is removed, how both as a musician and as a tantrika do those practices remain relevant when they are robbed of their context of the natural setup that they were meant for or they have been prescribed for?
So what we are doing in our own tantric practices today, we are Catholicizing Tantra. What do I mean by this is Abrahamic religions viewed nature as a source to be exploited for the humans to fulfill their desires, their needs.
Anthropocentric.
It is completely centered around humans. God created humans, and God created rest of anything other than human. Animals, plants, natural resources for the pleasure of the human.
Bhogya.
Yeah. So, but particularly in tantric philosophy, number one, it is very ecological. It's a nature philosophy, because this is a universal philosophy that it's based on, let's say, panpsychism or pantheism, where every piece of rock is divine, every tree is divine, every river is divine, every mountain top is divine. If you go to Nepal, you will not find a confluence without a small Shiva Linga, no matter how small, the tiny Shiva place. Every mountain top will have the grove for Mother Durga. Nobody shall touch that grove. That is Durga's grove. And there are trees dedicated to particular deities. I'm not talking about conservation of particular rock or particular plant. I'm talking about a philosophical crisis here. Our attitude towards nature, our attitude towards animal, and so we need, for us to have this shifted, we need to have this non-dual or a type of a seamless relationship with the rest of the creation, in which we are not the owner and the enjoyer of the rest of the world, but we have an interrelated relationship in which not just we help them, they help us. How can they help us? So having a sadhana of yakshini under a people tree will generate. So why are they focused on particularly specifying these? And then the number will go infinite, to the bilva and the tulsi. And then, but let's not even go towards numbering which is holy, which is not holy. Because the idea is to help you see that even in the plants, there is a presence of that same divine. And you need to be concerned as it comes to exploiting the nature. You see? So therefore, our whole attitude, tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Basically, yes, you need to survive. These people who are living in nature, they were using natural resources, but they were absolutely mindful that it is not for them to exploit. So that is the philosophy we lost. What did we gain? The more we are talking about industrialization, what we are talking about is exploitation. Dig it, drill it, pump it. And then if we continue exploiting natural resources, you can talk to the best environmentalist. Humanity has no future beyond 50 years. And it is such a horrific scenario to consider. We need a philosophical change. We need a different type of philosophy to, we can just make some laws and we'll, change the whole thing. We need to change people's attitude. And, that is where politics comes, our social responsibility comes, and then our social influencers have to play the role that we are at the verge of civilizational crisis. And this current exploitation-based philosophy cannot solve our problem. And I'm not saying we have the solution, but we have the alternative perspective that will at least start curing the root of the problem. Root of the problem is our own attitude. The problem as such is what we made it to be. We created these problems. Why did we create these problems? Because we have this attitude. So one thing what happened, I was in Nepal, after I left my home, I was back to that same place after 10 years. And from my house, 10 minutes of a walk up to the mountain is Adeshwar. That temple has some 5th century inscriptions of a dedication to Lord Shiva. That's the temple going back to at least 5th century, okay? And then there are 1,000 inscriptions. And then it was on top of this mountain called Nagarjuna Hills. And then I was so happy when and felt like home, after a decade. When for 2 more minutes I turned to the other side of the hill. My knees gave up. I collapsed on the ground because what I saw was they had cut down the entire hill from the other side. The whole hill didn't even exist anymore. These miners, all they were doing was gravels and rocks, not even some diamonds and whatever. Not that that would make a difference.
Wouldn't you say that with the hill, the deity is gone?
The whole perspective, I never went back again, because my perception, not just about the God, is everywhere, Lord Shiva for me, but about the people. I don't want to keep cursing them, therefore I just don't want to go there. So look at the level of moral depravity we have. And what is forcing us? Don't we have other substitutes? We could have made a hay bale house. They last as long. They are maybe ecologically more friendly, because for the weather you don't need AC and heater, because if we go to hay bale. So there are so many ecological solutions, but we don't want to try that because there's not as much money to be made,
Yeah. Comes down to convenience. And also we have every festival of ours is something that teaches us to revere nature.
Like Margali is coming and all those. Tell me, please, that as a vocalist or as a dancer, when you are singing or performing on the stage, remove from the entire natural context. And in today's age, when new shishyas are coming to you, can those teachings be imparted to them when all these things are gone?
It's impossible. It's almost impossible, because the art will cease to exist not just with Carnatic music or devotional music or anything, even if we take a film song. If you want to describe, a heroine, you bring the moon in, you bring a flower in, you bring the river, a deer, doe eyes. So without nature, there is no art, because art is inspired from nature. But the problem here is, like he said, Ācārya ji was mentioning, the attitude is the problem. There needs a major culture change that will address this, because we think culture is going to temple, praying to God, doing this, doing that, and coming back. But the actual culture is responsibility towards nature that has given us everything. So in school, when kids go to school, even when I had studied science, basic science that is taught, we have a pyramid that is given to us. That is called the food chain.
Food chain, yes.
Right. And somehow we have managed to, just managed to come to the top of the food chain. We top the food chain today, right? I think there needs to be one more triangle on the top of us that again brings nature back to the food chain.
Exactly.
We should be right in the middle. There's nature below us, there's nature above us.
Yes.
So we consume nature.
Yes.
And if we do that beyond the capacities, the nature consumes us.
Yes.
The moment people are driven with this idea that there can be any moment when you vanish within nature, because it's as powerful as the entire cosmos. So it is going to just swallow you up when the capacity is reached, when the maximum limit is reached. When that idea is driven into the kid's mind at that age, I think the attitude starts developing.
I remember Ācārya ji once said that it's a long back thing that I read from him, that his first mantropadesha was from his father, I don't know, and he was taken far away from the house in the mid of somewhere, and after giving certain kind of a mantropadesha, he was left there. Means it is kind of when the child is taken for his first teaching, he's in the mid of nature, or the natural context, where he is like kind of indirectly told to build that relation to the wider expanse of the world.
Imagine doing a Homa, Ācārya ji, without Samit, without...
Yes, even in Homa, so many dravyas are required. Most of the present day tantrikas, they are not even aware that a particular homa, coming to the point, like Sharaveshwara homa will Nirgundi leaves, this will homa, they will Mandara Pushpa, this, that. So he is coming to learn about through rites and rituals itself. He's getting to learn a lot about the variety of leaves, foliages, herbs, etc. Where do they exist? And a kind of, isn't it like he is to be made aware that where do this come from and how is important it is to protect those, even to protect his own sadhana.
No, let's go to the most widely known example, so everybody in our audience gets it.
Yes.
That when Siddhartha walked out of that house, what he wanted was enlightenment, nirvana. He was in quest of the truth, of the absolute. So let's focus on the methods, the mechanism. What did he do? He walked barefoot.
Yes.
And these are not the asphalt roads of today, okay?
Yes.
And then where did he go? Into the woods, where there's just like, even today, the tigers and cobra, vicious snakes walk, you know. And then he went there and he spent time, and he was beaten by the mosquitoes. He was starved almost to death. He lived under the tree. Why? He was already a prince. He could have found one luxury room with air conditioning, and you know, everybody serving him perfect food, and you know. So why there is, you know, there is more to this story than a simple self-torture or asceticism. There is just like, you cannot get this type of self-realization as long as you are cut off from the nature. You know, like that's why in India we have so many stories. Every sadhu's story does not come from the luxury palace, but him walking out of the luxury palace, going to this untrodden forest or cave, or living there, being there, you know, not like taming the tiger, but living among those vicious beasts. And what do we learn from this? I'm not talking about particular lesson here, I'm talking about a broad philosophical spectrum, is that that this type of realization is not possible as long as we are separating ourselves from the broader nature, broader ecology. You know, that's the story of Mahavira, that's the story of many of my gurus, all the way down. I'm talking about not just some historical times, even up to the generation of my gurus. You know, that is the case. And so we have today, you know, I call this California style yoga. So all the all the luxuries, you are just you know, and you are using, and then you have some lofty, sophisticated words, and maybe got one mystical experience, whether in ayahuasca or with some gurus. It doesn't matter. It's just like those. I don't consider those experiences as any spiritual experience. And then you just got some type of conviction that, you know, it's all about cultivation of your ego.
Yes.
Whereas Buddha was there to wipe clean of your ego. What does she say? She just said, Sivasri just said, it's just like a recognition that you are absolutely nothing in front of the divinity. What is happening there? It's again an erasure of the ego. You know, it's not about self-importance. It's about self-negation at the cost of the divine presence. Where is that divine? The divine is in every single rock. I was just walking by my property, like outside, you know, through the trail. And when walking back, I saw a beautiful rock. I loved it. I picked it. It was heavy. My student walking behind me, what are you doing, Ācārya ji? And then I just walked. And then as soon as we entered the backyard, I threw it there. And then, why did you bring this heavy rock? And I was like, don't you know this is God? And I just wanted to give her a shock, you know, like this is a crazy, like this is a crazy idea. And then she referred to it somewhere else, like what a shocking experience, that walking with me. And then I'm like, just don't you know this? So the attitude, what is this rock worth? This is like, even if you need it, it's like $5, $10 worth. Go to some, you know, rock place. And why would you bother carrying on your own? No, but what about experiencing that? You know, what about the experience of placing that there? Not as a shrine, not as divine, because every place is divine shrine. But you have this, whatever, like a rock grove, or you know, little plants of your own in your own house, like a balcony where all these different plants kind of sort of you connect to them, and Yeah, I know. We live in different environment now in town, and most people are born in apartments, and they are not like grown up in villages or groves, and their whole perception of the nature is alien. Completely. It's not their daily experience.
Semitic, you would say, in any way? Abrahamic in
It has helped that idea. Our organization is conducive to the philosophy of the separation of ourselves from the nature. And I'm not saying let's not have any organization. It is not possible. But what I mean is we have to reinvent the ecosystem that allows us to be within. Consider how many animals die of food poisoning, like they ate wrong plants and then died. How do they get this knowledge? The nature teaches them. And we, on the other hand, of course, some million years back, we possessed the same knowledge. We don't consider that knowledge, but we don't have it today, right? Millions of plants known, particular plants known as medicinal. Do you think that all these were based on lab research like today? How were these wisdoms derived in the tribal communities, like whether it is in the Amazon or in some groves in Meghalaya? It doesn't matter. How do these indigenous people know? Because then there's just like a whole medical field of ethno-medicine, like how they are doing research based on people from the tribal area knowing, and then they take in the lab in sophisticated places. They start, this does have certain chemicals. Let's do more research on it. Many of the medicines today are derived from some basic rudimentary ideas from the tribal knowledge. So, but the tribe should have zero knowledge, because they have no knowledge of the chemicals that cure for particular. But how are they knowing it? Because they were aligned with the nature. They lived with the nature as a continuum. We split apart. We have shattered that chain. And the Mother Nature doesn't speak to us the same way she speaks to the animals.
We are not connected to the ground either.
Yeah.
Because we live in apartments, in floors, multiple floors up there. So the connection with the ground is so important.
Yes.
With the mitti, with the
soil. Yes.
Yeah. So that is itself is making us closer to the nature, being connected with her. Imagine, when I was talking about the moon and flowers and everything, I was just imagining writing a song to a girl, comparing her face with a porcelain plate. White and round. Imagine she'll hit me with the plate. So, though it is white and round.
Yes.
Even today when we look at a full moon, we all, feel excited. Oh, did you see the moon? How beautiful it is. Because it comes with so many other factors that is associated with it, with the cool breeze, with, how pleasant it makes us feel, and a lot of other things. Yes, it's cumulative. So that I think only the nature can give, and not the porcelain plate. So,
Ācārya, I think both of you, that we have kind of bracketed everything. This is music, this is Tantra, whereas somebody who is Tantra is also somebody who knows Ayurveda, who knows yoga. Means these are not, now we have, this person practices mantra and rituals, so he is a Tantra. So coming to that context, I was actually going to ask you that what is your views on yoga in the present perception of things? Because as contemporary yogic practices of pranayama and your kriya yoga, hatha yoga, these are seen as separate schools, Patanjali yoga, and the very aspect of Tantra itself being the origin point of yogic practices have been somewhat hidden. Why this? Means what has led to this? Why is Tantra now separated from yoga? Why the common public perception is what led to the evolution that yoga is something separate from Tantra?
So, Ācārya, before you answer it correctly, I want to say something. I absolutely know what yoga is. Let me tell you. It is standing half naked in undoable poses.
Undoable poses.
Okay. And with candles and incense sticks in a corner with a photo of Buddha. God knows why.
And particularly by skinny girl.
Yes.
undoable poses. Yes.
You're standing on one hand and the one leg is in this direction. The
Yes.
other. That is yoga.
Today.
Yeah. Ācārya to you.
Because even the practicing of the opening up of the vocal cords as a musician is also a sort of enhance. So it is not about just the physical, it is also the vocal, the intellectual, everything. I like
First, address the first thing, Prantik. But yes, so I would not say the same category for Patanjali's yoga. Patanjali's yoga is in itself a complete system. But if you read Hatha yoga, they all came from the Nathas. And Nathas are the ones who composed all the Agamas, okay? The Tantras.
primarily dedicated to Shiva and Shakti.
Shiva and Shakti, the Tantras. So let's not say Agama is broad, but these Tantras, because all the, from the Matsyendra Natha to the Goraksha Samhita, Goraksha Natha, and all the other Natha Siddhas. So that is why even in Kaula traditions, every disciple is given the Natha, another Natha, or all these titles, even today, right? So, and then Kundalini practices, for example, now so universalized, but it's not in Patanjali's yoga, it's in Tantra, right? It's in Tantric text. So, again, there are two types of things happening. Number one, take anything good from the Tantra and secularize it. Do not ever mention the name Tantra because it's a bad thing. And then brand on your name, make like Bikram yoga or whatever yoga you want to make. So that will help you make money. Has absolutely zero concern for any civilizational issue, any cultural issue, any tradition parampara issue, because these people are not guided by the ethos of the civilization. What beats in their chest is money. No? So they are least concerned of what if this leads to some misappropriation. And what is happening, these things are supposed to have a transformative spiritual experience. We are using for some calorie burning today or some completely secular, mundane, physical needs. And so we have degraded the sacred, brought down to the profane. It doesn't matter how popular, how common it has become. We have also added in it to lose its value. So, not that we cannot redeem its value, but this is again coming back to society, that the society in large has to start rethinking that to what extent we can allow or we can encourage this type of activity. So there are many, they have not come. I would say that many of the Agamas and Tantras have still more to come. And in terms of particularly dhyana, the meditative practices, not even, I would say, not even 10% of what agamic meditations are come to different yoga schools or things like that, you know.
It has not been explored.
It has not been explored. Actually, we are talking about some projects in that line. So instead of investigating into those, we are removing the context and we are discrediting the source. What happens when you discredit the source? Like I learned something from you, and then first of all, rather than crediting you, because then there's a market thing.
Yes.
I want to be the authority.
Yes.
So I will do anything I can with my power to discredit you.
Yes.
And then you are already discredited. I become the owner of that knowledge. I become the founder. So this is the whole thing going on in the popular imagination and the popular market. So I know it's a little bit of a difficult task to mainstream Tantra in the popular imagination, but the public needs to actually know that these are civilizational forces at hand. Like it's not just about who makes what yoga, or yoga. Beer yoga, for example.
A beer yoga, yes.
Doga, there's like a dog yoga. That yoga you play with a dog.
I just recently came to hear about it. Dog yoga, yes.
So how far it is going to go? Where is it going to go? So therefore, I just think that, I'm not saying therefore everything of a yoga to beer yoga is traditional. But what I mean is they took something out of tradition and then through the context, through the tradition, and then started doing all the random stuff they like to do.
Is the culture of discredit also present in the classical musical system or something like that? As Ācārya, are the dangers of not acknowledging the parampara or the lineage? And
I think it started way early.
way early. Okay.
A lot of traditional ways of singing, dancing have changed a lot, bringing in relevance as the reason for it.
Relevance
to today. Relevance to, because we don't have certain emotions that we had during those days when the compositions were written.
due to the loss of natural context,
Natural context, and also the change in societal perception.
societal.
Because and also due to the British.
Yes.
So there is a lot of change that has happened, and because of that, the tradition has also changed. I would say partly for the better. Also, it has changed, but ripping off the entire art from the parampara, from the tradition, is not advisable, because the ultimate result of that is going to be delusion.
Yes, you are into Chitra Sutra, means the tradition of art also, mandala art, I think, and also. So it is also based on certain shastras. So that because the very context of art, there is a concept of prana pratishtha in our art, which cannot happen in any random things. It has to be drawn, painted by the hands, which is infuse it with life.
Yes.
So that is also something, because that is also something drawn from in the tantric tradition also. The importance of inscribing anything, a yantra or a deity, it has to be infused with the prana of the practitioners. One has to be a dikshita, I think, to draw the deity.
Yes, that is true. That is, we can't expect dikshita only to become an artist.
Yes.
Anybody who paints, somebody who paints landscapes,
Yes.
let them go ahead and do. But considering nature is also revered, and it is also a deity.
Deity,
in our
yes.
tradition,
Yes.
I think as artists, they should also have that bhakti when they paint.
Yes.
Just, two mountains and a valley and a river. Doesn't make it any different from painting Parampika.
Yes.
So it is ultimately the same. So I would say that whether they have the diksha, they are open, they are allowed to do yantra art. They can construct a yantra on paper. They know the dimension, they know the length, they know how to do it. Yes, that helps. But when they are not given a diksha properly, or they can at least have the surrender, at least have the bhakti towards the art, and see everything as divine being and paint it, and the painting is gonna talk for itself.
Yes, exactly. So, Ācārya Shri, what are your future vision regarding this uniting the current seeker in the concrete jungle back to its original context? What are the steps that you have thought of to take up, like to unite the seeker who is born in the concrete jungle back to his natural context where from the journey starts? Because the immanent and both the trans, they are interrelated.
There are some of the things that are lost in history we will not be able to recover. Let's face it.
So the knowledge will go along with that?
Not the knowledge, we have to strive to conserve it. The context, the modes in which they were disseminated. I don't think that we will be able to carry on all the teachings in the exact same way. Like if I try to teach the same way that my teachers taught, I might get 2-3 students in my life, but the need for today is, in the case of my teachers, they wanted to find 1 or 2 best students who can just learn from them and then just train them and be happy. But we have a crisis, a civilizational crisis. We have a task of informing people. We have to have a greater awareness. Our teachers didn't feel that those type of responsibilities were more urgent than self-realization and cultivation and experience, and I don't blame them. They produced us. But for our generation, we have a slightly different modified responsibility. We are placed in a civilizational class and almost at the brink of civilizational collapse, and I can go to a jungle and pretend nothing is happening, or I can face the reality and then salvage what can be salvaged. So in that, what comes first? I have to prioritize what is most important. For me, what is most important is the framework, not the particular content. Because when you preserve the framework, then the parameters, the philosophies that are preserved. So it's if you are worshipping a deity, thinking that in a completely different religious context, it's like you worship Kali. Is it just a difference in name than the people who are worshipping in whatever the gods in other religions? You know, is it just the difference in your name or the crazy look of the image? So there is so much of experience and so much of a framework that is intact to the deity. And if we do not preserve the framework, only preserve the image, then we are not actually paying more attention to at what cost. So therefore, like another thing is a conservation. Like many of my friends focus on, we need to scan the books, we need to microfilm them, and we need to archive them, we need to have the museums, we need to have, so I'm like, okay, that's a good thing, but these are experiences of some people. I'm microfilming and putting it in an archive. I'm turning these deities into some museums, and they were worshipped by the last generation. These are lived. They were lived among us. These deities had life installation. Today they are in a corner of a big national museum of history or whatever. So this we cannot conserve human experiences in some conservation in museums of some artifacts. These artifacts were the products of a civilization, but those artifacts meant something deep in the context of that civilization. What we are doing is we are letting go of those particular meanings, particular concepts, particular experiences that were intrinsic to those civilizations, and then we are only conserving these artifacts. So making a museum like pyramids in Egypt, the people who made the pyramids are long gone, and so gone are the original values. Today they are the museum pieces for the tourists to be attracted. We are turning our temples into some kind of museums. The first time I had this feeling of temples into museums was when I was in Khajuraho. We are not worshipping them. Like, we pay a particular amount of money, we go there, and then we go to take pictures or talk about nonsense. So we are slowly doing that, not just what the British did. We learned. And then we are applying that. We are universalizing that. And that is not conservation. Conservation of human experience is possible through dissemination of experience. And that I felt was equally or even more urgent than just simply being a scholar of a field, reporting about it, in a sense, archiving it. What is the point of archiving if we cannot even preserve the inner core of experience?
Basically, when you say that there is a Devata, the Devata has its own framework, or what is said in Tantra like Pitha. Like if this deity is in the particular forest, located in particular forest, this deity is located in a particular cremation ground. Likewise, as I said, Sivasri, you are heading the Project Vanam, which is into conservation of the ecology. Temples too are also getting out of the natural context. Like in the concept of Pitha, Shakti Pithas, each had their own tree. They had a particular nature of tree, foliages. Those are being stole. People are very less aware about it. So people are being divorced from the natural context in which those pithas or the kshetras exist. What are your plans regarding that thing?
My plans are very easy. It is, our land is a land of diverse languages.
Yes.
So there is a problem of comprehension. And like how Adi Shankaracharya tried to simplify very complex scriptures through his stotras, through his writings, through his bhashyas. We also have to take the responsibility as artists, as people who are having the drive and willingness to do something, to simplify things for people who are finding it difficult to comprehend. So, be it music, be it the Project Vanam, whatever it is, we have to just give them tasks. So, I have divided the entire. Say, for example, if we take one area in one city, I've divided the area into zones. Say at least 50 zones, and each zone will be given to at least 10-15 people.
Okay.
So that is making them focus just on one particular street problem.
Okay.
So you do not have to work beyond that, because today everything is simplified.
Yes.
It's a 10-second world today.
Local panchayats.
Yeah, people want to learn from 30-second reels, from 10-second videos. So from them we cannot expect a long-term project. So the only way this can be done for music, if I want to say, who will understand Carnatic music's intricacies and technicalities? For example, if it is somebody from Kashmir,
Yes.
it's going to be very difficult. People from Tamil Nadu itself don't understand. So which is why they start finding it boring. So the way to preserve any of this is to break it down, simplify it, and give it to them. See, when we do Nama Sankirtana, we just keep saying Vittal, Vittal.
Yes.
If they are able to sing along for that, why not this?
Yes.
Because it is 2 words and 2 notes. So it has to be broken down to something as small as that. So simplification is the best process for conservation. It is going to be easy for people to comprehend, understand, and stick on to something. If I tell them Vitthala, Vitthala, they know that they are singing just 2 notes there, but they are still able to sing in tune. But if I give them a Tyagaraja Kriti to sing, it's going to be difficult, because it's a lot more words and a lot more notes and nuances. So this way, people will still know that this was a land of bhakti, and this will continue to be a land of bhakti for music. And when they just focus on their own street, given a job of planting so many trees, and also make them understand that these are the things that are native to this place, and this is what will grow here.
Yes.
Because you cannot convert a grassland into a forest. That is against the nature again.
The Japanese concept of natural garden, letting everything grow.
Yeah, because it's not in our control again.
No.
The people should be led to believe that the nature still controls us and it's not the other way. So when that idea is ingrained in everyone, I think the job is going to be easier to preserve.
I think this is where you two people come together. Like he is the Shiva Tattva who is trying to create the awareness, and you are making it comprehensible through this. As Shakti, you are trying to make it comprehensible and make it reach out to the people on a more rooted ground level. So how would you two summarize your plans for the future?
Well, Ācārya ji has, for starts, to be very basic about it, he has, because of the grace, he has come up with so many beautiful shlokas that I've been singing.
Yes.
And it is not just stotras, it is not just compositions that you recite, that you sing, just set tune to it and sing it. It has to carry more weight than that. It has to make people understand the philosophy, the depth, the spiritual significance behind the deity that is in focus. So again, the first time the first album that we did, I had asked Adrijit ji if they were stotras written by Adi Shankaracharya which were not popularized. So I was like, I have not heard of these stotras. Adi Shankaracharya's stotras are pretty popular. What are these? And I was like, this is not Adi Shankaracharya. This is a contemporary artist, a contemporary devotee that has written these stotras that is still living with us in this era. So I was shocked, because one, the Sanskrit is still an alien language.
Yes.
But if you actually sit with the stotra, you can understand what is going on. So you can actually, get the essence of the stotra, which is what I was talking about, like how Adi Shankaracharya tried to simplify. Ācārya ji has also brought about these ideas into very simple compositions which people can comprehend, which people can understand. One. And there are so many projects. We also want to do the Durga Saptashati part.
Yeah.
We
are waiting for it.
Yes.
Durga Saptashati part.
Yes. So that is going. Recently I was asked in an interview about Lalita Sahasranama, about Devi Stotras, about all of this. Why should people recite? I said they are not. It should become like eating and drinking and taking a bath every day. It is a lifestyle. It is part of our everyday life. I had told this it was in a Kannada interview. I was trying to muster some Kannada, that day, trying to put these into words, but this is what I intended to say. So this has to become a part of everyday life for people, where it is like chanting Shuklam Baradram Vishnu. People should be able to chant along a Durga Saptashati. It is not rocket science.
Exactly.
It is not, cave inscriptions that we can't understand.
Exactly.
So I really want to work on this recording very soon. Make it like a chant along. Make it possible for people to.
Here too, ecology comes in. Prashanta Shwapada Kirnam, because this Devi Mahatmyam is being given in a forest where animals are totally in harmony with each other. Otherwise, Medhas Rishi cannot flow out the Devi Mahatmya.
Yeah, no, you know what happened? Just a few days before I had first meeting with Sivasri ji, I had finished my pilgrimage to Chidambara Kshetra, to Brihadishwara, to Rameshwaram, and because I've always felt myself not knowledgeable of the South as much as I would like to, and I grew up, in the North, and I was dislocated, and so I was so filled with, Vimarsha has been my journey even before calling it a foundation or anything. And the heart of this is, I really need to do something about this particular philosophy, this particular idea that means so much to this civilization, but most people want to shun away from it. And when you go to this temple, what comes first? What is Lord Shiva? He's dancing. And he is like, I'm teaching Abhinavagupta, and Abhinavagupta spent so much time composing the commentary, on Natya Shastra. And the Rasa, like the whole discourses on Rasa, he writes Abhinava Bharati, and the Lochana commentary. So how can we combine the actual Rasa forms with the philosophies that I can handle? We don't communicate much. He's such a busy person, But I could see that potential, maybe one day we'll have resources enough to materialize this philosophy coming to life in the body of, if you read Mayamata, if you read many of the Agamas, actually spend so much time outlining the statues and core discourses on Nada, core discourses on Laya, everything is from Agamas. And bringing the Agamas to life is not a one philosopher's job, because we need someone who lives those things, those art forms, because they integrate, the philosophy integrated the life, the art. And that's why I felt good working with Sivasri. And particularly, she's not a singer of devotional composition. She is a person of devotion. And that's why I feel so comfortable working alongside.
So, on anything that you two would commonly like to end it? Anything from the Agamas?
Do you remember any lines? I don't know.
Or Ācāryaji's own stava? Something from Sivasriji's mouth.
Jyotsna Haima Varna उपमितिरहिता कल्पयित्वा कथञ्चित् तन्त्रीं वा पुस्तकं वा कथमपि दधति नादबिन्द्वादिभूता वाग्देवी वागतीतामपि सकलगुणातीत सच्चित्स्वरूपा वन्दे 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 निर्भिन्नरूपामपि मम हृदयं नित्यमाह्लादयन्ती मम हृदयं नित्यमाह्लादयन्ती.
Thank you so much for this. With this sweet note from Sivasri ji, we are concluding our, though we don't want to, actually I don't know, it will keep on flowing, it is just going on. So with this sweet note, we are now concluding this present conversation rather than more than an interview. It's a conversation, it's a dialogue that has been happening between these two individuals. With this, we conclude this present session. We hope to continue more on similar such topics, because this is a very wide and expansive topics. So we bid goodbye with this. Thank you. Shri Matre Namaha.